Welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to be your guide today as we embark on a really fascinating, premium journey into the world of programming. We're going to take some pretty complex concepts and break them down into elegant, easy-to-understand pieces. So, whether you're taking your very first steps into the tech world or you're just looking to solidify your foundational knowledge, this deep dive is designed specifically for you. Let's get started.
Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the language of computers. Second, we'll formally meet Python. Third, we'll answer the question, how does Python work? And finally, we'll look at where to write code.
All right, let's jump straight into part one, the language of computers. Have you ever actually stopped to think about how many instructions your computer processes in a single second? Well, the answer is staggering. We are literally talking about billions. A modern computer just has this incredible, almost incomprehensible amount of raw computational power. But here's the catch. Raw power without any direction is completely useless. The computer actually needs us to guide it. It needs us to tell it exactly what to do, step by meticulous step. So, how do we harness those billions of operations? We do it by finding a shared language. And that brings us to a really foundational concept. A computer program is, at its core, simply a set of instructions written in a specific programming language that tells the computer what to do. Imagine looking at a sleek, dark monitor. The glowing text you're looking at? It isn't magic. It's highly structured logic. Programming is just the art of creating those instructions. By writing text-based code, we're building the very foundation of every single action a computer takes. Everything from a quick math calculation on your smartphone, all the way to the complex software navigating rovers on Mars. It's all just instructions.
Now, you might have seen visual, block-based programming tools out there like Scratch. And those are great. They act like puzzle pieces for absolute beginners. But professional programming primarily relies on text-based languages. And just like physical tools, different languages are used for different jobs. Java, for example, is incredibly robust. It's heavily used for massive enterprise software and Android mobile apps. Then you've got C++, which is a powerhouse used when pure performance is absolutely critical. Think high-end video games or complex system software. And then there is Python. Python is our focus today because it bridges the gap so beautifully. It's uniquely accessible for beginners, while at the exact same time being the heavy-lifting powerhouse behind modern data science and artificial intelligence.
Moving right along, let's dive into part two, meet Python.
You know, to truly understand a programming language, you kind of have to look at its history. Python was actually born back in December of 1989 at the Centrum Wiskunde en Informatica over in the Netherlands. Its creator, a man named Guido van Rossum, had a very specific vision. He wanted a language that was incredibly easy to read and write, but still highly capable. So in 1991, the very first official version, 0.9.0, was released to the world, and it immediately caught people's attention because of its clear syntax and built-in flexibility. Fast forward to the year 2000, Python 2 launches, and that really cemented its massive popularity for the next 2 decades. Finally, 2008 marked the beginning of the modern era with Python 3, bringing us even better performance and support for the cutting-edge tech we use today.
Now, here is a really fun piece of trivia for you. If you were to ask 100 people on the street where Python got its name, I guarantee 99 of them will tell you it's named after the giant snake. But no, actually, scratch that. Guido van Rossum was just a massive fan of the legendary British comedy group Monty Python's Flying Circus. He wanted a name that was short, unique, and maybe a little bit mysterious. So he literally named this wildly powerful programming language after a comedy troupe. I think it's just a wonderful reminder that at the heart of this highly logical mathematical discipline, there's still a deep sense of human creativity and humor.
That being said, the programming community absolutely embraced the visual pun. The Python logo is beautifully designed. It features 2 intertwined snakes, one yellow, one blue. But beyond just being a really stylish, premium-looking icon, this logo actually carries deep meaning. The Those two snakes symbolize the harmonious duality of the language itself. On one hand, you have this incredible simplicity that makes it so welcoming for beginners. But on the other hand, you have immense, heavy lifting power for advanced users. It is, quite simply, perfectly balanced.
So what is the secret sauce? Why has Python completely dominated the tech landscape? Well, it really comes down to four main pillars. First up, clear and simple syntax. Honestly, reading Python often feels a lot like reading plain English. Second, incredible flexibility. You can literally use it to build a sleek website, automate some boring spreadsheet task you hate doing, or train a complex neural network. It does it all. Third, a massive community. If you ever run into a problem, chances are thousands of people have already solved it and posted the exact answer online. And finally, it's open source. It is 100% free to use and absolutely anyone can contribute to making it better.
Okay, let's look under the hood in part 3. How does Python work? So to actually get our code running, we need a translator program. In computer science, there are two main types of translators: compilers and interpreters. Think of a compiler like a professional book translator. It takes your entire program, reads the whole thing, translates it all into a finished machine code file, and then the computer runs that completed file. Languages like C++ and Java use compilers. An interpreter, on the other hand, is much more like a live translator at the United Nations. It reads your code dynamically. It takes it line by line, translating and executing it right there on the spot. And as you might have guessed, Python is an interpreted language. It relies entirely on that live interpreter. When you hit run on a Python program, the interpreter reads the very first line, analyzes it, executes it instantly, and then smoothly moves right on to the next line. This is actually why Python is often called a scripting language. This line-by-line execution makes Python incredibly dynamic. It's fantastic for testing your code quickly because you don't have to sit around waiting for the entire program to compile every single time you make a tiny little tweak. Finally, we arrive at our highly practical Part 4, where to write code.
If you're going to write code comfortably, you really need an IDE. That stands for Integrated Development Environment. You can think of an IDE as your complete premium digital workbench. First, it gives you a clean text editor to actually write your code. Second, it has the translator, that interpreter we were just talking about, built right into it so you can run the code instantly. And crucially, it includes a debugger. A debugger is this incredibly useful special tool that helps you hunt down and fix typos or logical errors. Having all of these tools integrated into one stylish, dark-themed window is exactly what makes modern programming so efficient.
To get you started right away, let's compare two highly recommended environments for beginners, Thonny and Trinket. Thonny is a dedicated desktop application. You install it directly onto your Windows or Mac. It runs completely offline, uses the full official Python 3 interpreter, and it has an absolutely brilliant visual debugger that lets you see exactly how your variables are changing, step by step. It really is the ultimate deep learning environment. Trinket, on the flip side, requires absolutely zero installation. It lives right inside your web browser. Now, it uses a slightly limited interpreter, and you do have to be online to use it. But the beauty is that it allows you to start writing code instantly on any device and share your work with just a simple web link. So, Thonny is for deep, serious offline learning, while Trinket is perfect for quick, accessible practice on the go. And wow, that brings us to the end of our structured journey today. We have covered some serious ground. We explored how humans actually speak to computers. We uncovered the rich and slightly comedic history of Python. We dissected exactly how its interpreter executes logic line by line, and we armed you with the exact IDE tools you need to get your hands dirty. So, I leave you with this. Now that you know the language and you have the tools, what will you create? The power to build, to automate, and to analyze is literally right at your fingertips. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep learning, keep structuring your knowledge, and I will see you in the next one.